Now, President Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa earlier outlining the progress made with service delivery in 28 years of democracy. Ramaphosa, however, admits a lot still needs to be done. Meanwhile, many South Africans feel there is absolutely nothing to celebrate on this Freedom Day. Well, let's speak to somebody who's 30 years old, very shortly, Letlhogonolo Letshele. I mean, she was born in 1994. And that's when we cast our first democratic vote in this country. She's currently an electoral systems researcher for My Vote Counts. And she holds a master's in politics and international relations. I must be very careful what I ask her in case I expose my ignorance. Letlhogonolo, good afternoon. Happy Freedom Day. Thank you very much for your time. So you were born 28 years ago, 1994, at the time, at the dawn of democracy. So it's so great, and it's a privilege speaking to a millennial. Some of us refer to you at the beginning of the democratic phase in this country as the Mandela generation. How do you feel today?
Thank you so much for having me. Good afternoon, Dad. I mean, the whole euphoria about the lines, about everybody being excited to vote is something that I did not see. I was just actually I was not born because I was born 2 weeks after the vote. So I have no government to compare to. I have no political system or electoral system to compare to. So I'm basing my assessment of the 28 years that I've been on South African soil. I do not see any strides. As much as the president wants to remain optimistic, I do not see a responsive government. I do not see an accountable government. And I think I need to put it on record to say that we are dissatisfied and that something really needs to give, something really needs to happen, because 30 years is quite a long time. I mean, I was able to study until our master's. So it's usually an indication that, it's quite a long time, that we should have been seeing some serious changes.
I just want you to repeat those words. So you, as a 28-year-old, born at the dawn of our democracy, having grown up with no memory of apartheid except what you hear about, what you read about, what you watch, if you've watched any audiovisual material, you don't find this democratic government to be responsive. Tell us why. Everything about apartheid I've been told, so I absolutely do not have, any practical experience. So I do not find the government responsive in the sense that, it's degenerating, it's a decline, sort of spiral, because if you think about the issues that we kind of experience, I think I started being conscious of politics around the times of the arms deal. We had Marikana, we had the state capture. So I have not seen any, positive aspects towards our government. I'm seeing, the state of municipalities, degenerating right before our eyes. So it's quite really a sad state of affairs. There's really nothing that we can be optimistic about. And I think it's good that we reach that point. So maybe, there's a sense of renewal, going. Because, we've been optimistic, for the past years. Every time we celebrate Freedom Day, we really hang on that aspect of being free. I'm always told that we are never allowed to access certain toilets, we are never allowed to access certain shops. Let's move beyond that. Let's talk about resources. Let's talk about socio-economic issues. Are we accessing those now that we have the freedom, government that we are supposed to be having? So let's focus on the difficulties of today and in resolving them. So you said you are even 2 weeks younger than our democracy. You were born 2 weeks after the first democratic election. In moving forward, what should change? You are involved with My Vote Counts. You are an electoral systems researcher. In 2 years' time, there's going to be the 30th anniversary of our democracy. You're going to be 30 years old, of course. So what should then happen? You are working for an organization that promotes voting, for example. That interests me a lot because we are told many young people are apathetic nowadays. So what should change in the next 2 years to convince you that things are now going to be different, that we're not going to be stuck in the past? I think most importantly is remembering the power of our vote. We've gotten to a point that we are very apathetic in saying, what, it doesn't make a difference, I'm not going to vote. We've been given that picture over the years that voting doesn't make a difference, political parties do whatever they like at the end of the day. So I think big changes need to happen around the electoral system and the political system. People understanding that when I vote in a particular particular way, it can make a difference going forward. I mean, my voice can be heard in Parliament. So I think we need to, think about the electoral system. I think it's one of the things that are, to an extent, constraining us or restricting us because people are seeing that their vote does not matter. I think we need to think about our votes, particularly think about how our votes can be impactful. I think the next 2 years we need to really around, voter education. I think it's really important for people to understand it. To also understand the power, that lies in that cross. So I think once we are conscientized and once we are, extremely frustrated enough with the current condition, I think come 2024, we are just going to make a difference. I know my people, I know the youth, we are at that point because of, the poor decisions that affect us so much. The crisis of unemployment, poor education, we are the ones who are, bear the brunt of that most because we do not get jobs. So I think we are going to be ready come 2024 and we are going to make a difference.
I saw you smile a little bit there when you say in 2 years' time we the young people are going to make a difference, Letlhogonolo. And I've told many people that there's a lot of power in that ballot paper and in where you put that X. So are you saying that as a 28-year-old, you're going to be very mindful of how you exercise that right?
I think so. I mean, rather than you just look at the political landscape, it's changing a bit. I mean, what our sport has always been, the particular party, the ANC, has been in power and with many, the majority of the votes. But if you see the last local government election, there's something to, measure against. There's quite a decline, and there's also, that steady growth or, stagnant growth, maybe I would say, of the opposition party. So I feel, in that respect, there's quite big changes. I think we can leverage, on those issues and come up with something different and come up with an alternative that can change things around.
Yeah, I mean, I covered the 1st November local government elections last year, and like my colleagues here at eNCA, it was very clear that there's a shifting somehow in terms of how people are viewing elections. And I do know, of course, that the governing party that's been governing this country since the dawn of democracy, that's the African National Congress, is seized with what's going to happen in 2024. Will it emerge as still a majority party or not? But young people like yourselves would be imagining a new future for themselves. I mean, forget political parties, but from a country, for you, what would such a Freedom Day signify into the future for it to be significant in your life? What would have changed for you to say, yeah, now I can really enjoy Freedom Day as a young South African?
I mean, I think it will be high time that equality counts as an element of judging democracy. I mean, it's always been about civic rights, politics, but let's speak about the issue of equality. I need to leave the house and have equal opportunities as somebody with a different race or a different class. If not, let's have a government that's able to create, a leveling playing field for everybody, equal opportunity. Let me go into university when I come but I have a job. Let me even have the opportunity to go to university and study whatever I like and make a difference when I'm completing my studies. Issues of resources, meet me halfway, school fees, food. I mean, we do not have equal opportunities, so some people need the help, and I think our government has a role. It's our basic right to get some certain assistance from the government. I think those are the future. That's the future that we would like to see going forward.
Yeah, equality. So for you, the measure of the freedom or the significance of the freedom is going to be around equal rights. It's going to be around equality. Thank you very much, Letlhogonolo, for talking to us. Your birthday is coming up in 2 weeks. I don't think I'll be talking to you before then, and I'm wishing you in advance a great 28th birthday. But you and I will talk again in the near future. Thank you very much, Letlhogonolo Letshele, electoral systems researcher for My Vote Counts. She wasn't born 28 years ago today. She was only born 2 weeks after this historic day in our country. It's important to listen to the voices of the youth about how they are imagining or reimagining the political landscape beyond 2024. ANC, are you listening? Political party, DA, are you listening? All other parties, are you guys listening to the young people? I wonder.